From the Fox 26 studios, this is Houston's Morning Show.
There is a lot to discuss from last night's Democratic presidential debate here in Houston. And for deeper analysis of some of those big issues, we're joined by Republican strategist Jackie Valley and Democratic strategist Dallas Jones. Good morning and thanks for being here.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Okay. A lot went on last night. A lot of the issues that the candidates were talking about, they were trying to differentiate themselves from the others. Let's hear a little bit of what former President Joe Biden had to say.
My plan for health care costs a lot of money. It costs $740 billion. It doesn't cost $30 trillion. $3.4 trillion a year, it turns out, is twice what the entire federal budget is. That's before it exists now, without interest on the debt. How are we going to pay for it? I want to hear tonight.
Now, Biden compared the cost of his plan to Senator Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren's call for Medicare for all. How do you think these messages got across?
Yeah, there definitely were differences in policies with the many candidates that were on stage. With this particular area, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are calling for Medicare for all. And anytime you bring the government into any type of subsidy or any type of area, you're going to see a heavy increase. What Elizabeth Warren is not saying is that if she does implement that policy, the middle class will be the one that will pay with higher increases in taxes, and their budgets will be affected. And that's what Joe Biden was trying to say. What he didn't mention about his policy is that 55% of rural hospitals will close if we implement his policy. They're trying to have the government run something that should remain privatized.
The fact of the matter is they're trying to achieve universal health care for all Americans. That's what they're trying to achieve. I thought that particular moment in the debate, that was at the beginning of the debate, the energy was electrifying in the room. That was a moment that Joe Biden really shined, showed his knowledge of the federal government, his experience, and certainly that he had been a player in the formation of what we currently know as Obamacare, which he has said needs to have some tweaks to it. So he's been earnest about that, but while comparing his plan to, as Jackie pointed out, to Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders, I think he won that moment. But here's the real victory. The real victory is that they're having a conversation about how to achieve universal health care for all Americans. They're not just saying, no, we're going to shut it down like Republicans and the Trump administration have been saying, leaving millions without coverage. That's the victory in the exchange that happened last night.
Now, there's also the immigration debate, and that is a major issue that they were talking about. And here's part of Senator Warren's plan.
I want to see us expand legal immigration and create a pathway to citizenship for our dreamers, but also for their grandparents and for their cousins, for people who overstayed student visas, and for people who came here to work in the fields. I want to have a system that is a path to citizenship that is fair and achievable.
Now, immigration continues to be a central part of the president's campaign, but will the Democrats' stark differences help or hurt whoever eventually becomes the nominee for the Democratic Party? Dallas.
No, I don't think that it's going to hurt them, because here's the reality again. What they're doing is flushing out ideas to achieve an end goal for the American people, for what's best, for what's fair. They're having a dialogue about public policy. Who would have thought that such a thing could happen in American democracy, that we can exchange ideas, that the Democratic Party, a big tent party of different ideas, is not monolithic. We're not following the beat of our tweeter in chief. We're actually coming up with ideas that we think will help to make the lives of all of us better, and not just a few. That is the fundamental difference between the parties, and that's what you saw on stage. You saw a representation of America last night, even Andrew Yang.
Well, whenever Castro said that Biden wants to claim some of Obama's policies sometimes and he wants to run away from them, this was an example. Whenever the other members on the stage would accuse President Obama of deporting 3 million illegals during his term, Biden said, well, I was just an advisor. But Biden is the only one on that stage that differentiates between legal immigration and illegal immigration. He's the only one on that stage that says if anyone comes into our country illegally, there are penalties and you must obey our American laws and policies. And that's why he's the one leading by far in the polling of everyone else on that stage, because a majority of Americans do want us to uphold our laws and our policies when we're dealing with immigration.
So you agree with him?
I didn't say that. I'm saying he's the only one. He's the only one that says if you commit a crime, you have to pay
See,
for
Jose,
it.
even Jackie would vote for him.
It's a very interesting debate, and it will continue since we do have another debate next week. I know you have additional comments in. But thank you both for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having
commenting
us.
on a historic moment here in the city of Houston.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.